Hello, have you got £750,000? Probably not. So if you got a legal threat for £750,000, that would probably spook you. That's what this video is about. Land reform campaigner and Scottish Green MSP Andy Wightman was threatened with that eye-watering financial sum as a result of blogs he wrote about a controversial company called Wildcat Haven Enterprises. Now that's a big deal. It's a threat to Scottish democracy, because if you're forced into bankruptcy, you're forced to leave the Scottish Parliament that Andy Wightman was elected to. He published details of the case and the legal process that had taken place. The law firm Burness Paul also sent a legal letter to the Scottish Green Party simply for having a link on their website to Andy Wightman's. Now this is the latest example of people using defamation law in Scotland as a mode to attempt to silence criticism. So who are Wildcat Haven Enterprises? They claim to be a conservation group that sells souvenir plots of land to fund a so-called reserve. When you look on Companies House, you find that one of its two directors is a man called Douglas Wilson. Douglas Wilson just so happens to be the former director of Highland Titles, a firm that also claimed to sell plots of souvenir land for the purpose of conservation work. When I reported on Highland Titles' residency in the Guernsey tax haven and criticism of its legal claims by senior Scottish legal experts, I received emails from Mr. Wilson asking me to delete this critical coverage. Malcolm Combe, a law lecturer at the University of Aberdeen, published the details of what he called the steps the company Highland Titles has taken to suppress legitimate criticism on their business model. These concern questions like, are you really using this money for conservation? Why are you residents in a tax haven in the case of Highland Titles? Now, in light of the Wightman claims, Mr. Wilson did not want to comment, and neither did the company's law firm that I mentioned earlier. So beyond the dubiety of Mr. Wilson and his company, this also raises serious questions about Scottish defamation law. After Wightman published the details, leading Scottish legal expert Jonathan Mitchell QC said that the claims had no legal basis, and added that this type of legal threat was a threat to legitimate journalism. Scottish Pen, which campaigns for free expression, says we are done a dangerous disservice by outdated defamation laws. The Scottish Law Commission is currently moving forward with proposals for a draft bill to update Scottish defamation law in line with recent reforms of libel law in England. I hope in the next 2 years we will see changes to protect legitimate journalism and its place in democracy, and action against attempts of corporate bullying to shut down legitimate criticism. I'll leave the last word on democracy to the elected member of the Scottish Parliament for the Lothians, Andy Wightman, and what he said about democracy in his maiden speech to the Scottish Parliament. Thanks for listening.
The solutions to climate change, to inequality, to voter apathy can only be addressed by a radical redistribution of economic and political power for the benefit of all and for the planet as a whole.
As you sat beneath the watchtower, surrounded by a wall, with liberty and justice for all. As you sat beneath the watchtower, surrounded by a wall, with liberty and justice for all.